Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
All right, Chey. Let's talk about this fight coming up. You've built yourself up in LFA. I think all of your fights have been with the promotion except for one. How does it feel? Starting off with LFA and now being able to say that you're going to be fighting for the title.
Yeah, I got to have a lot of fights as an amateur as well for LFA, so I feel like I really have kind of grown up in their cage. So it's a big honor to get that title shot from them. I really respect them and respect all of the fighters they bring into that cage. So super honored, really pumped, and it's just nice to finally get that feeling of like, okay, I'm actually getting some respect. I've built myself up. People are starting to notice that I'm not just a run of the mill regional fighter, that I actually have some skills. And yeah, just excited to get in there.
Yeah, when fighters fight for the LFA title or become LFA champions, that road leads to many things. You know what I mean? That's a lot of excitement, especially for you and the team, right? Because they've probably
Yeah.
been, you know, alongside you for the whole ride.
Yes, yeah, I have been at the same team, Next Edge Academy in Sioux Falls, my entire career. Um, we've had a few people go through LFA. Devin Clark, who was in the UFC for a long time, he actually won the RFA, so before LFA became what it is today. So he won the heavyweight belt for them years ago before moving on to the UFC. Shayna Baszler used to train out of Next Edge. So we have a lot of people that have come up from our small community and made big waves in the MMA world. So excited that I get to be that next stepping stone. We also have a huge boxing program that's growing, so it's just cool to see all of these young fighters in a small area really becoming well known and growing and learning and just moving up in the fight world.
Yeah, the coaching staff there. Who are they? Explain to me exactly who's helping you out.
Yeah, so my head coach is Bruce Hoyer. I'm gonna probably mess up the dates, but I know he was a world champion jiu-jitsu in like 2007, 2008, that time frame. Competed all over the world. He's been coaching and doing MMA for like 25 years. He is the perfect coach for me. He's a no nonsense type of guy. We always joke and call him a 90s dad. He just makes us work hard, and when you get a good job from him, he actually means it. So our other main coach for me is Ian Ritchie. So he's our boxing coach primarily. He does help me out with some kickboxing, Muay Thai as well. And then our assistant coaches, Gary Kashal and Don Paulson, kind of help up with our Muay Thai as well. We have a few other black belts and higher ranking jiu-jitsu people that kind of assist as well. But for the most part, it's Bruce Hoyer and Ian Ritchie.
And the opponent that you got coming up, right? Veronika Borisova. What do you think of her and the style, the fighting style?
Yeah. So this fight was actually supposed to happen, I don't know, probably before my last one back in April, even. Both my coach and her current coach were like, hey, she needs a fight in the US. We're both kind of close regionally. She lives in Omaha, I think. So they tried to get it synced up, and logistical admin stuff, you know how it works, just kind of fell through. And so she fought Naira Rep, and I fought Naomi. And then after watching her compete against Naira, I have a ton of respect for Rep. She's literally a bomb in there. But yeah, I think our match, like our style, is going to match up very well. She likes to pressure forward, throw big bombs. I'm very much somebody that if you rush at me, I'm either going to counter strike you or take you down. So it'll be interesting to see how she kind of attacks on the feet with knowing that. I'm looking to keep it standing for a little bit and test out my game there. It's an area that I'm really trying to improve on, but at the end of the day, getting the win however I need to get the win.
And when you look back at your career, you started off with a loss, which nobody wants to do,
Hmm.
but it builds a lot of character. I've
Yeah.
talked to many high level fighters that have started off with a loss, and they've been very successful because they're not carrying that monkey on their back. That's how they, think of it. How did the first fight, the first pro fight, impact you?
I would agree with that. So my first pro fight was at 135. Most of my amateur career was like 130 catch weight or 135 as well. Cutting weight was a pretty new phenomenon to me, so I was definitely learning as an amateur. So stayed at 135 for that first fight and took on a beast of a woman. She just out-violenced me, to be honest. Looking back on it, I definitely let kind of fear get in my head a little bit. She was bigger, stronger, came from a Olympic judo background. And so I just let that take hold, and that ultimately is what lost me that fight. But it was nice. I was like, okay, the worst has happened. I lost my first pro fight in front of my home fan base in Sioux Falls, and I came out okay, and I improved. So yeah, it was kind of a blessing in disguise. I was able to be like, all right, I've already had the worst happen. Let's just move on from here, and see what we can keep building.
Yeah, and you've done really well for yourself and stayed pretty active as well. This is your third fight this year, and it's for a title. Like, what's your philosophy on training, though? You know what I mean? Are you just the type to just be training all the time, and camp is not really camp, or are there huge differences?
I definitely train, like my hours in the gym don't really change in between fights. I'm still putting in 20 to 30 hours of training, regardless of whether I'm in camp or not. It's just the intensity changes a little bit. It's a little less drilling, more live goes, and more specific type scenarios and situations that we're working on in fight camp versus out of fight camp. I just kind of focus on improving my all around game. But yeah, total time that I'm spending at the gym doesn't change. I'm in there every day, 4 or 5 hours if I can, on top of work and doing all of the other normal people things. And yeah, so it really doesn't change for me. I just up the intensity, maybe log a few more road miles, get the cardio going, that type of stuff. But I'm always ready to go.
What do you do for work?
So I help our gym. I guess gym manager might be a good term, but I just help kind of run the back end of things with membership, cleaning the gym, that type of stuff. I also work at a meal prep company. I'm just like at their real retail store, selling that stuff, which is really convenient because I get a nice discount. So it's come fight time when I need to cut weight, I have access to healthy meals as well. Um, so those are my two primary gigs. I do some private coaching as well on the side, but for the most part, I just work for the gym, kind of as a little gym manager, and then working part time at the meal prep company.
Yeah, well, at least everything's kind of like aligned with fighting, right? It's not nothing
Yeah,
too
yeah, it
opposite of what you
all
do,
leads
right?
towards the same goal for sure.
For sure. Since the debut, how do you feel like you evolved? I mean, as a fighter, mentally, physically, what do you think?
I think my biggest growth, aside from like a technical standpoint, I think my striking has improved the most in the last 6 months to a year. But overall, my mental game has really evolved. I started seeing a sports psychiatrist, and she's really helping me with the visualization and preparing for kind of those worst moments that could happen, whether it be right walking out in the middle of the fight, in between rounds. Like, how do we kind of keep those negative thoughts out, reevaluate our situation critically, and move forward with a positive mindset. So she's been crucial. I got rocked, I think, in my second fight when I was down in Alabama, and I go back and I think she is the reason that I was able to pop up right away and just keep on fighting. Because I was like, well, that happened again. The worst happened. We survived. Let's move on. Let's keep going. So I would say my mental game is probably the biggest reason that I've been on this 4 fight win streak.
What do you envision for yourself in this title fight? The type of performance you want to have.
Yeah, I would love, I mean, everyone would love to have a barn burner and, have this big like knockout. I want to showcase that I have evolved in every area, that my grappling's improved, my striking's improved, my clinch work, everything has evolved, and that I'm ready for that next step up. Um, I envision when I do my visualizations, I see a third round TKO. I'm a cardio machine, and I think I can really push the pace those first couple rounds. Um, get her kind of regretting, and then hopefully break her spirit a little bit and get that TKO in the third round.
How has it been preparing for 5 rounds?
Not that much different. I mean, sparring rounds, obviously we do a few more. Our conditioning rounds, again, a little bit more, but nothing completely different. It's just pushing a little bit longer, a little bit harder each time. Like I said, since I'm training constantly, we just up the intensity a little bit earlier. This is the longest fight camp I've ever had. Most of my fight camps are like 4 weeks. This one I've known about for 13. So we've really had a long time to kind of like slowly evolve and improve this like training style of how we intricately like keep my cardio going higher and higher every week. So the intensity's improved, but overall, like, yeah, just ready to go.
Yeah, some people are, yeah, sometimes I talk to fighters and they're like 3 weeks out. They're like, why am I still training, doing a training camp?
Yeah,
I'm like, I want to fight this weekend. You're at that point.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I am. We've done all the techniques. We've done through every situational drill. At this point, it's just like making sure I feel good physically, mentally, emotionally, and making weight. So.
Has making weight been pretty easy for you?
Yeah, I've never missed weight. I wouldn't say I've had like any awful cuts. They're never fun. I mean, I wouldn't think any
Mhm.
fighter would ever say they're fun, but um, I've never had one where it's been like a struggle getting up to the scale or anything like that. I've worked with a couple of dietitians in the past, and I have a degree and a background in nutrition as well, so that's kind of been helpful.
Okay.
And because we've known about this fight for so much longer than the other ones, I don't foresee this being any more difficult than my past weight cuts as well.
Are you the type of fighter that watches fights as well? Like, are you following like other promotions and things like that?
I do like I watch them for my own entertainment, and when I'm in camp, my coaches and I will sit down and watch some film on the opponent, but I try not to get too wrapped up in other people's fights and other promotions, just because I'm so into it like every day for hours and hours upon the day. I'm in martial arts, I'm doing martial arts, I'm that's on the mind. So when I get home, I'm usually like, let's take a breather. But when LFA fights are on, when the UFC fights are on, for sure we're watching those just for fun, usually with some family and friends, so it's a good time. But yeah, otherwise I try to keep the martial arts stuff at the gym and then come home and just be at home.
Did you see that knockout yesterday? The
I
it was
did,
like she was like a
yeah, on
900.
Tuesday, yeah.
Oh, it's insane, right?
Yeah, that was insane. I was hoping to fight Shannon Clark before she got that call to go to the Contender Series. So, yeah, that
Yeah.
was a very abrupt change of game plan there. That was crazy.
That was shocking because I interviewed Shannon Clark before that fight. You know, she was an LFA champion. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah, yeah.
one shot like that.
Yeah, it was crazy, and the sound it made was whew, rough.
Yeah, it's scary, but it shows you women can knock you out just as bad as the men. I think
Yes,
that's probably the best
yes.
knockout ever on Contender Series.
That's what we said as well when we were watching. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen a girl knocked out that brutally before, and I was like, and then just in general, I don't think I've seen a knockout that rough in a while. So yeah, no, it was very
Yeah,
impressive.
it was, man. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You're gonna get your opportunity, you know, in the main
Yes,
event. It's gonna be a really it's an interesting matchup. You know what I mean? When you stack like your quick rise against hers, you know what I mean, who she's fought, you know, the it's like two worlds clashing, you know what I mean, because she's fought a lot of the
yes,
girls on the other side of the world, you know what I mean, so it's like you
right.
guys kind of have a mystery towards each other, which makes it intriguing.
I would agree. I'm super pumped for this one. Yeah, like I think we've left no stone unturned, training wise, and you never know exactly how they're going to prepare to fight you. So I'm just going in. I feel well rounded and ready to go, and whatever she comes at me with, I'll be ready.